One decision can separate who you were from who you're becoming. One decision can end an old chapter and begin a better one. One decision can change your confidence forever. And one decision can rewrite your entire story.
Like, did you try, or did you move the fucking world to make it happen?
What do you want to do with your life? Because you got one life. It's going by quickly, and this is something that you need to get on it. You need to be in here every day. You're almost out of time. You're 22. You're late. Because I realized I saw a lot of people that didn't have any sense of urgency in their life.
Part of the reason why you're not successful at 40 years of age has to be you. Has to be. Some of it has to be. I mean, it could be a fucking avalanche of bad luck, one thing after the other, but I would like to see that you're making progress towards a better direction. But if you're stuck in this modality, if you're stuck in this mindset of, you know, the world fucks me over, it's like never gonna, no one's gonna want to be with you. No one's gonna want to have children with you. No one's gonna be willing to rely on you to support a family. Like, you have to get your shit together.
I'll just say I came to a place in life where I just didn't like me anymore. I looked in the mirror and I'm like, I will not spend the next 50 years with this guy like I have the last 50. I don't like me. Nobody around likes me. I can't. And so I had to make some decisions. What's making me like this? I need to get it out of my life. And there were people.
You negotiate the costs with yourself.
Backwards from the assumed success, which is why do so much volume, it would be unreasonable that you were successful.
The heaviest things in life aren't iron and gold, but unmade decisions. The reason you are stressed is that you have decisions to make and you're not making them.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, there's no indecision, right? There's only, because you age, like you pay for your indecision. It's a decision. It's a decision to avoid, fundamentally.
What I'm not okay with is while I have the bandwidth of good health, fucking great mind, strong fucking like mind concept, and I can go, I can do it, I can get there. I'm not okay with wasting that time.
Is that you're not stuck, you're actually grieving a past version of yourself. So there's a part of you that's died, that actually you left behind a long time ago, but there's a part of you that still misses it. You still want things to be the same, you still want things to be that way, and that keeps pulling you back.
You have to consider the price you pay for inaction. People presume that inaction has no cost. You don't get to not make a choice. Not making a choice is still making a choice. Every minute that goes by that this decision is undone is a choice. I believe that the longer that you wait before you do a thing that needs doing, all of those minutes that you spend thinking about the thing that needs to be done could have been gotten rid of had you just done the thing. And there's sort of two things happening at once here. One is you can work way harder than you think you can.
Yes.
And another one is most people work so not hard that even a small amount of working hard puts you into a rarefied strata of people. And both of those things are true at the same time.
You will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. There's no doubt about it. And I know that's probably not a traditional message for a graduation ceremony, but hey, I'm telling you, embrace it, because it's inevitable.
You start thinking your mind is you versus my mind is a tool that I'm going to use, or if I don't use it, it's going to use me. So the majority of people do that. And by the way, during COVID, that number exploded because so many things were taken from people. They were constantly focused on what's missing, and that produces nothing but pain.
The heaviest things in life aren't iron and gold, but unmade decisions. The reason you are stressed is that you have decisions to make and you're not making them.
Everything in my life, volume negates luck. Violence is the answer. Like, these are sayings that are plastered around the wall of this office because they've been so true for me that you can brute force what you want into reality. And yes, today, we talked about trades that we're not willing to make. But if you want something, like, did you fucking move mountains?
The problem is that you have to face what you don't want to face in order to fix it.
Yeah.
And so you look at all the things about yourself that need to be burned off, that need to be dispensed with. And that, man, especially at the beginning, especially if you're screwed up, that might be like 95% of you just has to go up in flames. And it's painful. Even some of that stuff that you have to burn off doesn't want to die. And it'll scream in agony while you're burning it off. It's not pleasant. But if you know that you're the thing that can transcend your problems, most fundamentally, if you know you're the thing that, if it faces the problems, can transcend them, then you have the faith that would enable you to take stock.
I actually think the greatest consequence in life is not keeping commitments to yourself. And I think that compounds to, as we talked about, where does beliefs come from? I think it compounds as personal evidence, which is deposited in this instruction manual of who you are and how you behave and how you show up and what you're capable of. All those tiny little commitments. And then I think you can get into a downward commitment spiral because of that, because you think you're
You don't have faith in your own word.
You don't have faith in anything you do. And this causes a downward spiral.
You realize, well, why are you putting time into something in the beginning that you don't want to see through? Why? Or just because you have like a rough moment or a rough patch, why is it so easy for you to quit? Why is the idea of quit so quick to you to come up with, and why are you so comfortable with the results of that? I shouldn't be, and that shouldn't be my motto. So we don't stop. If we start something, we see it the entire way through.
I just can't let it do it anymore. I'm gonna have setbacks, I know. But if I'm feeling bad, that doesn't mean I'm doing bad. That doesn't mean I am bad. That doesn't mean that I can't still take some action. Because yeah, nothing changes and nothing changes, man. You know, we'll sit around forever wondering, well, what if I was a dog catcher? Would I be the best? What if I was what if I'd worked on at Avalanche?
The vast majority of successful people have one thing in common, which is they're consistent. And consistency, you cannot see in a snapshot. You can't see consistency in a soundbite. You can't see consistency in a reel. And so consistency is one of those things. I think you talked about unlearnable lessons. I think they are difficult to learn without large amounts of exposure. And so I think those are the types of lessons that become unlearnable, is that you need large amounts of exposure in order to encapsulate the lesson itself.
I think the biggest memory for me is the one of being complacent. You know, as a child, I wasn't really a kid that embraced the world of challenge, right? I was very complacent. I was okay with being a subpar to low average student, right? I was okay with not trying. I was okay with not giving my all. Ultimately, you're slowly cheating yourself over the course of years. It is not until you get a reality check as to why that work was necessary.
Take a pause before you make a decision and say, what if? And the purpose for saying what if is that whatever decision you make, always either going to have consequences.
Because we care so much about what people think, and we're scared of being an unsuccessful version of ourselves, because we'd rather be a successful version of what someone else wants us to be.
Yeah.
And so we're scared of being an unsuccessful writer if we could be a successful accountant.
Now, you've been willing to be the person, the outsider in lots of rooms. Mm-hmm. That seems to be really central to your success. And what Chris Rock said to you there was, get out into the unfamiliar. Go put yourself in an unfamiliar place. And when I look at your career and the empire that you've been able to build across business and investing, it's exactly that. It's you were willing to be in unfamiliar territories for some reason.
Yeah.
Quote from the ancient Greeks that says, live as though all your ancestors were living again through you.
If you don't know why you believe what you believe, it's not your belief, it's someone else's. And so if you can't explain, why am I not doing this? If you can't actually explain it, it's because there's someone else's voice that is influencing you that you're not aware of. And so I try and
name it.
Yeah, the naming is the key part, because as soon as you see that, you're like, Tom?
You've got to be willing to unlearn, because the things that we have learned in the past won't help us. There are people failing today that have the capacity to win, but they're trying to open up new doors of opportunity in this golden age with an old mindset.
Be the person that your mum thinks you are, or the person that your younger self wanted as a role model. Brave, courageous, earnest, honest, virtuous, like on fire.
I'm gonna go the best piece of advice came from Chris Rock, where Chris Rock told me early in my comedy career, he says, his exact word is, you don't just wanna make niggas laugh. The world is so much bigger than your block or your neighborhood. He said, get out the country. Get out the country and figure out a way to make the world laugh. And comedy will be so much better.
You see this guy here staring back at you? Yeah? That's your toughest opponent. Every time you get into the ring, that's who you're going against. I believe that in boxing, and I do believe that in life.
No one's gonna fucking come to help me. It's fucking me against me, period. And so I had to man up, and I said, the first thing I gotta start doing is facing every fucking fear I have, no matter what the fuck it is, man. And these things would keep me up at night. No one, people who are hearing this shit, they will never really understand. And
every day when you get out of bed, life's standing right there to kick you in the fucking face, man. Could be anything. Could be you get up and you walk downstairs, you got a fucking flat tire and you're late for work and you got this and that. Life is gonna throw all kinds of crazy shit at you, right? And you have to be ready for it and you gotta fucking deal with it.
The people I see winning in life don't have a perfect plan. They just take the first step and then the next, and then they keep going. They stay obsessed and they stay consistent.
So don't be afraid to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big.
It won't be easy. It will be hard because life is hard. That's what life is. And these challenges that you face, they're gonna do their best to take you down. Do not let them. Stand up, dig in. Line up those problems and confront them, face them, fight them. Do not let them bring you down.
Well, I think partly because life is so difficult and challenging that unless you give it everything you have, the chances are very high that it will embitter you, and then you'll be a force for darkness and not good. And so, you know, the fact that life is short and can be brutal can terrify you into hiding and avoiding, but it can also, you can flip that on its head and understand that since you're all in anyways, you might as well take the risks that are adventurous.
To get anything of value, you have to sacrifice.
I know that, Dad, but I think if we continue down this road, it's going to be too detrimental for the kids. It's just too hard.
Do you know that the harder thing to do and the right thing to do are usually the same thing? Nothing that has meaning is easy. Easy doesn't enter into grown-up life.
Staying in the pain is what gives you the catalyst to learn how to get out of pain. And so rather than trying to pull your parachute, it's like, I have to trudge through this so that it forces me to learn the individual skills, the individual variables that affect this outcome. And that means I might have to take 20 more lashings to finally get it. And then at that point, it starts to tick up.
But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams. And they ultimately fuel disappointment. So have dreams, but have goals.
So you can't escape yourself. You can't escape your dark sides. You can't escape your pain and your suffering and everything that in a way is triggering you also. And this is where I feel like to have this, let's say, concept at the moment, to really invest time in bringing out, understanding yourself better, and then build yourself up in all layers.
But I try to reframe that pain that comes from doing the things that I don't want to do the things that I do want to do, as the price tag required to become the person that I want to become.
I found peace years ago. In the battle, you find peace. When you go to war with yourself, you find a lot of peace because you know exactly who you are.
And that is where the peace is really found for me.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living." Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith. I want to fall forward.
You get in your head, you're dead. I think when I say you have to have the head and heart connected, right? It's like, why don't people transform? Because they're in their head about it. They're thinking it through. They think that if I understand this, then it'll just happen. It's absurd. If you're good at something, you've trained it into yourself. I tell people, you get rewarded in public for what you practice in private. Your training of your nervous system to do things is what really matters most.
Every man I know, they're battling internally. And so this is war being waged, but they're losing. And so what I offer is the mental and emotional tools or weapons to win this internal battle before it becomes another external war.
And I would rather fall short of a big goal and consider myself a failure than lower the goals to the level which I can accomplish all of them just so I can feel like I'm a success. And it's less about the goal setting, and it's more about the mindset of being okay being the failure. Because what it does is it frees you to imagine bigger, take risks like you never imagined you could before, because failure is not the thing you're afraid of.
It's no good if people tell you to do things, if people tell you to work, if they force you to do this, A, B, and C. It has to come from within. You have to have initiative. You have to be motivated to do things. And what I've learned over the course of writing my 7 books and through the course of my whole life is that you master yourself through learning something that you love, that interests you. That's how you develop discipline.
So ask yourself every day, how would the person I'd like to be do the things I'm about to do?
The masculine male feels fear, but will do anything to prevent anyone from knowing he is scared. The comprehensive man feels fear, but openly admits it, and thereby makes wise life decisions.
You cannot beat an opponent you deny. Is there.
Good. It's no good if people tell you to do things, if people tell you to work, if they force you to do this, A, B, and C. It has to come from within. You have to have initiative. You have to be motivated to do things.
When the alarm goes off in the morning, you don't have to wake up. Don't wake up, don't worry about that. When you're in school, you know what, fuck that, man. It's too hard to study, so don't study. You know what, don't eat healthy, because you don't have to. So guess what? When you fail, don't blame your mom, don't blame your dad, don't blame teachers. One person you have to blame is yourself.
The thing is, take full responsibility for your life. Accept where you are and the responsibility that you're going to take yourself where you want to go. Someone said we have 2 primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them.
You want to be a self-starter, you want to learn in life to start things, to do it on your own, not to wait, to just go out there and start it. Because if you start your business, you will learn more in 2 months than in 20 years of business school, right? And you'll probably fail, but your failure will teach you. So stop waiting and just go out and start it.
Nobody has the confidence in the decisions that you're making for yourself like you do. So if you're waiting for that to connect in the beginning stages, it may or may not. If it doesn't, it shouldn't prevent you from following through on whatever the line of go is for you. The money is never coming fast.
All that fear that's in your head, all the what ifs and the scenarios that you create inside your own mind that are way worse than anything that is actually going to happen, they all disappear when you go. So just take action and start moving forward. that is the moment that can last 1,000,000 years, is waiting to go.
Don't take today off. Not today. Wait until tomorrow. Don't give in to the immediate gratification that is whispering in your ear. Shut that down. Do not listen to that little voice. Instead, go through the motions. Lift the weights, sprint the hill, work on the project, get out of bed.
If you start your business, you will learn more in 2 months than in 20 years of business school, right? And you'll probably fail, but your failure will teach you. So stop waiting and just go out and start it.
Pain isn't proof of misalignment. It's proof you're growing. It's proof it matters. And ultimately, it reveals to you whether it matters enough. If you give up because something's hard, it means you didn't care enough about the thing. We do the most difficult things as humans for things we care about.
The world really only knows the actions that you take. It doesn't know about the internal state until that then shows up in the way that you actually perform. So, yeah, some things to keep in mind. Number one, don't grip life so tightly. Being too serious creates a kind of brittle fragility, which a playful attitude insulates you against. Your goal is dynamic persistence over the long term. And taking things seriously gives you a huge advantage in bursts, but chronic seriousness makes you rigid and at risk of blow up.
Self-esteem is earned. It's only earned by you with yourself. You're not going to get self-esteem because everybody praises you. Someone can tell you your whole life that you're brilliant, you're a genius, you're beautiful, you're handsome, and you not believe it. Someone can tell you you're a piece of crap and you're never going to become anything. And there's a part you can say, I'll show you, as many people have, and then they develop drive out of it, right? So it's really, self-esteem comes from doing incredibly difficult things where you know you pushed yourself. It's not virtue signaling. It's not telling people about it. It's what you know inside your soul is true.
You don't have to stop and wait. Life can start now and move in the positive direction, not in a way to fight a war or eliminate something, but because that's what you came here to do. I got stuff to do, really cool stuff.
Yes.
Like to create, to learn, to connect, to have fun. And so, I think that values journey is one that really makes sense of self-compassion. We're not talking about wallowing. We're not talking about, just, tears.
Same analogy, disappointment to me, to win, you got to lose. To be successful, you got to have something that's not successful. To be happy, you got to have disappointment. So I think all of those things have evolved and happened to make me who I am and understand the benefits and the privileges I have for being who I am, and not to wear it on my sleeve, be very humble about it. That's one thing my parents taught me very well is, don't wear your reputation, don't wear your accolades, don't wear your personality on your sleeve. Let it happen, let it be you. It is who you are. Don't hide from it, but don't wear it, rub it in people's faces. So,
and the reason that you have to be hungry is that you're going to get a lot of pushback. A lot of things going to happen that you cannot anticipate. Think it not strange that you face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might. You will have tribulations. Things going to happen to you, and things going to happen to people that you care about.
If you're never encouraged to go in the direction that excites you, then for the rest of your life, you're going to be haunted by this feeling of, learning is boring, learning is tedious. I was never interested in money. I was interested in doing what I loved. And now I've made more money than my father ever made in his entire lifetime.
And frankly, if you want to be successful, you have to be choosy about your desires. You have to focus.
You can't be great at everything.
You can't be great at everything.
Purity in physical pursuits, right? Because it doesn't matter what your social status is. It doesn't matter how people perceive you. When it comes down to how long can you stay in that pool, when it comes down to how far can you run, right, when it comes down to how much can you push yourself past the part where you want to quit, right, how far can you keep going, there's a purity in that it dissolves social order, all that bullshit, what people think about you goes out the window. It's who are you right now?
That's right.
Who are you right now?
It means it's time for you to fight harder, to dig in. It means it's time for you to go on the war path. And that starts with one of the fundamental laws of combat leadership: prioritize and execute. What's the biggest problem? What's causing the most stress? Family? Okay. Sit them down. Explain where you are at. Be blunt, be upfront, and then give them the simple plan of how you're going to get things back on track. Don't sugarcoat it. You give it to them straight.
Take the biggest fucking risks of your entire life right now. Remember, you have time. And in your 20s, you can get so scared and you can be so easily lulled into the idea that good is good enough, that feeling safe and comfortable is what you should always be looking for. That way of thinking in your 20s in particular, dead fucking wrong. I want you to start to create this mindset of taking risks and going big.
And I found out on my own pretty much, is that through discipline, through self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition of the same thing that you don't want to do, and that's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop mental, like an armor for your mind. Start to armor your mind, because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. It's what we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it. And that's how I started coming up. I just started being very uncomfortable. And now it's like just a way of life.
What do you focus more on?
What's missing?
Yes. It isn't something that comes, the focus on what's missing is not something that comes with someone who is a failure. It comes very much with people who are very successful. And the question then becomes, if you're always focused on missing, how can you sustain happiness?
You're in a permanent place of lack.
That's correct. So scarcity is there. So you'll have drive, right, to keep staying on the hamster wheel of achievement. But you run your software so often, you start thinking your mind is you versus my mind is a tool that I'm going to use. Or if I don't use it, it's going to use me.
Are you sure that's what you want to do? Yes, sir. Another long pause. Then I hear, well, don't half-ass it. And I remember just beaming, hopping up. It's like, yes! Launch pad, man. My dad not only said okay, in the way he said don't half-ass it was also, okay, let's go, big boy. Own that shit. Put some leverage, get some horsepower behind where you're going. Go do it.
Do so much work, it would be unreasonable for you not to be successful. I mean, this is a super known one, but like the magic is in the work that we're not doing, right? It's the obvious list. If you were trying to get in shape, you know you should eat less and you should move more. You know that. And so I used to even do these when I would have a weight loss customer who would come in the door and they'd be like, so tell me more about and I would just say like, do we really need to get into it? Like, you already know what you're supposed to do. The question is why you aren't doing it.
I would take about 15 minutes and figure out what the hell you want to do with your life, and I would start getting after it. So that's my advice. Take 15 minutes, figure out something that you're into, and go crush that thing and make it happen.
Because people don't want to do this thing. People don't want to do the thing because it hurts, because it takes half an hour every single day for nearly 12 months. It's a full 12-month recovery. Picking up heavy things physically, psychologically, existentially, culturally is good for us. And I think that's why it's attractive. Because I think deep down they know that if they had that thing, that would fix a lot of the problems that they have in their life.
Why would you not go for it? Why would you not take a chance? Tone Bell was out here. He said at one point in time, you got to take a chance on you. But see, let me help you understand something, in case you ain't thought about that. When you take a chance on you, I want you to remember something, that all of us were created in God's image. So when you take a chance on you, you're taking a chance on God.
If you're able to suppress, if you're able to outwork, outsuffer, be more conscientious, if you're able to put up with discomfort, basically, you're able to do things that most other people wouldn't want to do or couldn't do for longer than other people. Society rewards you. So you are praised in public for this thing. But the problem is, that same skill in your private life causes you to be able to put up with a level of suffering that is maladaptive.
So you got to get out there You got to give it everything you got, whether it's your time, your talent, your prayers, or your treasures. Because remember this, you will never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. I'll say it again. You will never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. You can't take it with you. So the question is, what are you going to do with what you have?